I didn't know. I didn't know if anyone thought we should have the longer version or the shorter ones in the minutes.
We probably should have the more comprehensive version.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Do you still have those? Okay, so let's table per the meeting minutes from the open house until we get the longer version of it. Doug, are you good with it?
Yeah, I told a couple people that because it was being recorded on video and all that,
Yep,
Reader's Digest version.
acceptable. But I think you've got the longer one already out there though, right? Since this is an official public record.
Yeah, with the minutes being the official record of the meeting, I would err on the side of the more comprehensive minutes.
I think so, yeah.
So we started talking about this quite some time ago because the person who did the minutes for the planning commission was a medical transcriptionist, which, as you can imagine, means it's every single breath
Mhm.
that is uttered. So I went to a training class and they were talking about minute taking and they said, don't do that. You can go onto it. I have already sent you all and him and Doug the appropriate way to take minutes for meetings. So you don't go into detail. He said, she said, he said, she said. You talk about the things that you're going to do, the actions that you're going to take, and any moves, anything that's going to involve money. That's what's important.
Okay, that's Sandy, that's your.
I mean,
feedback.
I'm happy to
Yeah.
have that put out for people to pick up again because we've done that before
Mhm.
and to resend it to you. We're not paying him the 4 or 5 hours, or Amanda, that it takes them to transcribe those notes word by word. And I think that is really unfair to them.
The one I saw earlier, go ahead, Cliff.
I hear you, and it doesn't, you're right, it doesn't have to be a transcript. Agree 100%. But if we have a more comprehensive version we know exists, and it's already produced, what's the problem with moving
Because
forward?
somebody is spending their time not getting paid to do it. When we have a videotape that we can go look at,
I thought there was already one that was created.
pardon me?
I believe there was another version of the minutes that were already out there that I read through.
Are you talking about minutes in particular, a certain set, or?
Yeah, it was the open house for the plan, for the master plan review.
Okay,
So I think they're, back to Clifford's point, they're already created.
There's no other minutes other than the ones that he has created.
I thought I went through another packet that was much more extensive.
I saw a more extensive.
Did you say of the same?
Get them, they were-
I think they came from Beckert and Radar.
I'll go back and check. Yeah, I'll go back and see.
All right, well,
Check
let's
it,
let's
yeah.
just table it and we can come back to it.
Yeah.
But I think there's something already out there. That was our point.
Yeah.
It's not like recreating the work.
And I will put together some educational information on how to do minutes. I'm sure Scott.
thank you.
There's definitely a lot out there, in trainings that go through how to take minutes for publishing.
Yeah. Okay, no, thank you. All right, so we'll table that till the next meeting and just give us a chance to review the other items out there. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public comment. We'll go ahead and open it up for anything that's not on the agenda. Patrick, anything, other than your projects with me, we'll certainly let you speak to that, so. It's a great question. I have not seen anything back from the consultant. I think you had checked in with her. I'd sent her an email and I hadn't heard anything back either. So there has to be some additional follow-up.
She has a draft of it that she had prior to state law. I would suggest, I've done trainings and stuff at 17. I would suggest to wait, see what comes out.
Yeah, no, I just kind of assumed that, but we haven't heard, to Patrick's point, that we haven't seen anything official come back from.
I don't know what Rebecca, I don't think Rebecca has changed her draft at all.
Okay.
Okay, because I know there's still some things going through the legislature, correct, in regards to
Well, it-
process and procedures.
legislature, now there's things going through court cases and going through, you ask for clarification on sections that they've created. So there's a lot of knowns and a lot of unknowns based on the new regulation.
So based,
They wrote a few things
Yeah.
into a law, and then they have a whole bunch of gray area that has to be sort of fleshed out.
before they start. Okay. So you have the opinion that we're better off waiting to take,
I would
for all that to flush out before we take it any further?
conserve funds. That would be the easiest way to go. If you would like to have a ordinance, you could always bring it forward, approve it, and then have to revise it in the future. Because the law doesn't go into effect until November 9th of 2024. So you could have whatever you want in place right now, and then you might have to revise it in the future.
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to do what they are calling a CREO, which is a ordinance that runs parallel with the state regulations so that you can still have the public meetings and hearings at the local levels with these places, or if you want to not have that and have the state mandate take it. There are benefits and drawbacks to both ways, obviously. And you'll have to make that determination,
You're not aware of any pending projects that are waiting on this, are you?
not in Linden Township or in
Sylvan.
Sylvan Township.
Sullivan. Okay. Go ahead, Patrick.
I'm sure there are ones waiting elsewhere.
Correct.
No. Yeah. If you want residential, usually, if you don't have an ordinance in place, you would address a ground mounted solar array as an accessory structure. And if you wanted a roof mounted, you would address that as a re-roof regulation. So, yeah. Yep.
They're all good points, right? I mean, I don't know, Cliff, what are your thoughts?
Which is, I mean, even if I was suggesting to you to change the ordinance, that's how I would address solar on residential properties. Is
In the interim, you mean?
even with a ordinance change, why not? Why would you amend it from that? That's just pretty easy way to go. If you have a roof, you can put solar on it as a roof. If you have a ground mounted solar array, it should meet the regulations of your accessory structure buildings.
That's interesting. Simplifies things quite a bit, doesn't it?
Now there's the in-betweens, which are in between residential and what you would consider a large scale, which is this 50 megawatt sites. And those you might have to create some regulation for. And those would be like you might have community solar at your project, but if you did, I would suggest you put it into your open space plan development so that we could approve it through that, and then you wouldn't have to go through the process.
What is that, Patrick? Mike? Okay. Okay. They're not legal? But is that just a Michigan area or is that? Oh, I see. So you almost become, then you get regulated by the. So then you're under the realm of the Public Service Commission, huh? I don't know, Scott, have you seen the petition drive though that's been started to overturn this also?
Yeah, there's also that in place too.
Yeah, I actually signed up to circulate petitions for it. You know. But for me, it's more of a matter of principle, right? Where you got 3 members of the Public Service Commission, you know, basically overriding everything that's happened on the local level.
Yep.
It's more of a philosophy than anything else. Okay, anything else, Patrick? Okay. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say in public comment? Okay, we'll close the public comment and we'll move into unfinished business. This is the presentation by Marco Silvio, architects of the Sylvan Neighborhood Concept Plan. First off, I'd like to thank you for the nice work you've done on the drawing. So this is very, very well done. Thank you. Only questions I had as I went through the review process, the 20-foot setbacks from the 50. I want to take a look at those on the plan to see exactly where they're at. So as I look at it,
What was the question? I can't, for some reason, I can't hear you sometimes.
yeah, I know I'm terrible at this. She's always reminding me. Okay. The setbacks from the 20 feet to
So the side yard setback?
Yeah.
Is that what you're interested
I
in?
think it was I'm just looking for the page 3.
So if you go to page A1 of your project plans.
Yep.
Are you on A1?
Yeah, I'm on A1.
And you look at each of the lots, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, lot 5, lot 6, lot 7, lot 8, lot 9, lot 10. You'll see there is a dashed line that runs it's set back off of the property lines. That dashed line is the setback lines. The 20 feet is going to be on the sides. That would be the off the property lines that are perpendicular to the roadway. So
if
you
I
can
look at-
see, like, let's take lot 10,
Lot 10.
which
Okay.
is the lot all the way to the north
Yep.
there. So if you look at lot 10, the front yard setback will be coming off of the roadway, the proposed roadway. That's the front yard setback, and that's set at, let's see, what's their front yard setbacks requests?
It's 20 feet they're proposing. It's typically 50.
Yep, 20 feet where it's typically 50, and then you have a 20-foot side on both of those sides, the north and the south side there. And then you have a 35-foot rear yard setback.
Okay. So really between the houses, if you look at the design as it's actually 40 feet.
40 feet between houses.
Between them.
Yeah, and that's shown, you can look at he has the sample of lot 3 and 4
Yep.
on A1.1, which is the next page after A1. And you could see that very clearly on that plan because it's a blow up of lot 3 and 4.
Okay.
You see how there's the 20-foot side yard setback on lot 3 and then the 20-foot side yard setback on lot 4,
Yep. No, I see it.
providing the 40 feet.
Okay. Yeah, those were my primary points that I always wanted to highlight. I don't know. Sandy, did you get a chance to look through any of this? No? Okay.
I'd like to hear a little bit more about the community well concept. If you could speak to that.
Yeah, come to the.
In Michigan, there are 3 different classifications of private. Oh, This wireless.
In Michigan, there are three classifications of community wells, essentially, type 1, type 2, and type 3. And that varies by the number of homes they serve, basically, and whether it's year round or seasonal. So these would be what's called type 3 wells, which are meant to serve 14 or fewer dwellings, 25 or fewer people.
Okay,
And that's the lowest regulatory category. It has to be approved by the county, of course, right? Like anything else would have to be. I'm already in communication with the county about it. They're actually going to kick it up to the state because there's a new state directive that came down and said, well, if you have more than 8 units, we want to take a look at it. And then, well, we're going to have 10, so
okay,
that's the way it's going to go.
okay.
And it will be considered one type 3 community well system, even though there will probably be 3 wells as shown on there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I thought I read in the report it was one well, but it looks like there's 3 potential locations etched out.
Yeah, that's to provide sufficient flow.
Just pressure on,
Yeah,
yeah,
actually, you can do a lot with just one. The first well, which is there already and serving a house under construction, actually is rated at 40 gallons per minute, which is pretty good. Could easily serve 4 homes,
yeah.
probably 5, because you're not all running the water all the time at the same time.
Well, these
That will be
wells,
subject to what the state says, but
you know, will you have like a pump house for these wells, or will they just be a pool on the ground?
I have a pump house for the first well. I wanted to put it underground, but they didn't let me.
They wouldn't let you?
So that shed is already there.
Okay, so in this concept well location, based on what the state tells you, you may have another small building out there with a pump and pressure tanks and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's a submersible pump.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
really
understand.
just a tank. It's a tank. And the building that I have right now is 4 by 8.
Okay,
Whether they deem that adequate for a type 3 remains to be seen. If I have to tear
Yeah.
out the shed and put a bigger one there, I will, but it won't be huge, right?
yeah, no, that's fine. Scott, would that fall under an accessory structure you'd have to consider as part of the next one?
I mean, as part of the open space plan development,
Yeah.
he could have well structures for these, and it would just come out of his open space project. So the footprint of that pump house would come out of that.
So basically just reduces the.
Yeah.
the-
And they would, all of these locations would meet the accessory structure requirements. So it would, if you want to call it an accessory structure, you can, but with subdivisions, you have pump houses
Right.
and well houses all the time. And you don't call them accessory buildings
Mhm.
because they're usually on a piece of commonly owned property. We have one that's on a piece of vacant land over by Chelsea Springs there.
Yeah, no, understood. I was
We have one out here in front of our building here, which is a sewer pump station.
yeah. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. So those were really all the questions that I had come up with, based upon this updated drawing. Leah, do you have any thoughts that you'd like to add,
No, I
Patrick, at
don't.
this point? No, actually, it looks a lot better, Patrick. So you guys did a nice job, so.
Thoughtfully done,
Okay.
thoughtfully done.
I think, and with the questions on the wells, that will be looked at with our engineer once this goes to a final
Right.
site plan. And if there is a problem with that type of well, then Patrick would, have to look to change the project to have single wells on each of the lots, or another solution. So, and that would be looked at by his engineer, our engineer, and the health department.
Yeah. Is this for your project? Is this basically a cost save for the homeowners? Is it? Okay. Yeah. These like 6 to 8 inch wells, or are they 4 inch? I was just, I'm my own curiosity. Is it? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you make it big enough, you put fire hydrants in too, right? Just kidding. No.
And during the final site plan review for the open space planned development, this will be sent to the fire district and they would have comments for that
Okay.
type of stuff. But more than likely, they're not going to require.
Yeah, Scott, you did a nice job on the write-up too.
Yeah, well done.
So, okay, I have nothing else to offer on that one, so. Patrick's been a long road, huh? Now we just have to do another hearing, huh?
Actually, according to the ordinance, there must be a public hearing. for the use of public
No, it's, we've had so many of these, that's, when you brought it up, I go, like, I seem like we've already had one or two of these.
Yeah.
I
we-
looked through my records, I couldn't find anything either.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. That was during the transition time too, so that didn't help.
We would have hoped that since this is a concept plan and that this isn't a preliminary site plan, that they wouldn't have written a public notice period requirement in, because there's supposed to be some sort of time savings based on a conceptual plan instead of going through preliminary and final site plan, but it doesn't seem like there is.
Hmm.
So it will require a public notice. So I already noticed it for the February 15th hearing. It will go in the paper on January 24th.
Okay,
Yes.
Same time,
Yep, same time.
same place.
Yep.
sure, go ahead, Patrick.
Kind of the road discussion we had about
Mm-hmm.
solar array on the ground. So they could see what you could do with that. There's a possibility that on some of the smaller lots, house and garage and a solar array could encompass more than 10% of the land. So it impacts the floor area ratio.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you, Mm.
Just in case somebody would rather have a ground mount.
Yeah, as you see in my staff report, I didn't know if he was going to be requesting a
yeah, I actually had. flagged
change
that
to the
first
FAR.
Conversation, so I'm glad Patrick brought it up.
I was ignorant of what the ordinance said for the agricultural district. I thought it already said 20. But Scott alerted me that it said 10. It's in a staff report, as you just said. So that's when I started thinking it again. I think, oh, if we're gonna put any solar panels on the ground, they might, the whole thing, the house and the garage and the solar panels might exceed 10%. Even though we'd encourage people to put them on the rooftops, and you see, that's why all the houses are oriented that way.
Right.
But
And
it'd
again,
be good to have that
um,
flexibility delivered.
I believe that it should have been addressed in the actual ordinance, because when you are taking and open this kind of clustering design, he's taken 14 acres out of the calculation of this floor area ratio, and he's created these his smallest lot is 13,000 square feet, and his largest, I think, is around 22. So though, I mean, a 13,000 square foot lot at 10%, that only allows a floor area ratio of 1,300 square feet. So you want to make
No, I
sure that that's
understand. Right.
adequate. So I think asking for the 20% FAR would be very,
It doesn't sound unreasonable to me either, no.
and even when you look at it as the lot as a whole, it's not going to be anywhere near if he had 10% of the entire lot. So.
No, I don't think that's an unreasonable request, Patrick, from my perspective. Leah, you any thoughts on that?
No.
Okay, Sandy, anything you want, you're good, okay, Cliff?
I would agree with your assessment, Mike.
Well, Patrick, I think you'd be okay with that. At least from the,
Just revise your plans to add that for when we have the public meeting. Patrick can it's just the one page with the chart on there. Yep.
Oh, with the chart, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And
It's just the chart that shows where you're asking for your differences from the underlying zoning.
Okay, it's on the application form as well, which we can revise.
I know,
Okay,
the
Right.
plans would be
Alright.
good.
Okay, anything else on Patrick or that you'd like to talk about on this? Okay. All right, we'll close that and move on to new business.
I think we have to vote on the concept. We're gonna,
No, not until we do the public.
Yeah, we can't have a hold a vote on the concept plan until the public hearing.
roger that.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's.
Yeah.
No, I think I know more about your 21 acres than I do about my 10,000 square feet. I got 10,000 square feet of land, I think, right?
Yep.
No, yeah, no, I'm not very big, right?
10,583, I saw.
Yeah, 10,580.
So,
Oh. So I'll move on to new business of comments, concerns of the planning commissioner. The only, well, I guess one Sandy brought up, and Rod, maybe you can help us, but who manages the website? Schumacher Group? We need to get the calendar updated for the planning commission. The calendar dates are not up there. You can do that? Okay, so that can happen. And then I think the other one Patrick brought up earlier is what to do about the solar ordinance, right? As far as the strategy. With all of the stuff in flux with the state, we don't have any large programs currently in the pipeline, right?
yeah, I'm guessing a large place is going to hold until they
Right.
see the state.
Right,
Because
until the,
If yours was in place right now, it would be much more strict than the state would be.
yeah. So I don't know if it makes sense to delay that until all this other things. And this sounds like, based on your recommendations, we wouldn't necessarily be stopping any sort of residential solar if it came through, if somebody wanted to do it. There's other means to achieve that goal, in the interim, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not impacting the citizens.
I know other municipalities I've worked for have put a moratorium on large solar, what they call commercial solar,
All right,
places, but I don't know. I mean, it's all going to, I don't think you're gonna have pressure in the next, I mean, cause you would just claim that you don't allow it anywhere in the township
all
and
right.
they would have to sue you and it would, by that time, the state law would be in.
Oh, well, maybe, right? Because I mean, I guess the question is, this is really a rural versus urban battle, right? Where the solar fields go. And so it's, the one of the questions, if we do end up in the township with it, where are the right locations to do it, as we update the master plan? Because I don't think all that state stuff's gonna shake out before that update's done.
Yeah, I
And
think your proximity to
And-
in Washtenaw County is what's going to
Right.
save you from having solar.
And I've emailed,
The cost of an acre of land here compared to the cost of the acre of land somewhere else.
right. But I asked Beckett and Radar to get maps of where the ITC towers run through the township, because of the high transmission lines. And so if we are going to have industrial solar or, or even solar gardens, those seem to be the more logical places.
Yeah,
where
and
we
that
go,
will be
right?
fine on our ordinances under 50. But you're not gonna be able to stop the state
No, I understand that, but
because you can't specifically require certain locations and not allow it in other locations.
no, I understand, but at least from a planning perspective, we can say these, if we're going to allow it, this makes more sense because the infrastructure is already there. People have already from a
But it
view
will
perspective-
be a lot, I'm just saying that anything 50 megawatts or larger will be allowed to go anywhere that the state
Where-
laws allow it to.
right.
So yeah, we can create regulation for the smaller ones like that, and then we could always, there's the gray area, which are the unknowns on, because there's a lot of, they have their known regulations and then they have things that they didn't put in. Does that mean the townships can't put them in and still have a CREO? I'm guessing the answer to that is no, because a utility can always, well, a utility meaning a solar developer can always opt out of the township's CREO and go straight to the state. The
Which-
Creo is like a compliant, zoning regulations that the state has said that is compliant with the state law.
Okay.
So,
Can you check with Becca and Radar to see if they're actually following up on it? Because I sent her an email. She's never responded.
for the master plan.
Yeah,
review.
just with the ITC, and so we get a map, we can look at it and,
Why don't you go ahead and send me a email of what you want and then
okay, I'll just throw
send it
some
to Becca
framework
or
is just to look at the properties where the ITC property
Yep.
runs. through.
Again, just shoot me an email
Okay.
with that wording because I don't wanna.
No, that's fine. I can
Recreate
do that.
your
Yeah.
regulation.
So the other thing that I'm working on, a friend of mine's the chairman of the Jackson County Commissioners. We go back many years in Scouts. So I was talking with him over Christmas, and he suggested that we look at the audit report for the Leone Township wastewater treatment plan and look at their capital report out there. And there's a report out there it's called Scantech. It was the company that did it. So I put a request over to the chairman of the sewer authority. I've not seen anything back yet. But what I was told is that there's potentially some startling information in there in regards to future costs for the sewer system. So anyways, I'm pursuing to see if I can get a copy of that and share it with people. Because one of the things is we look at the master plan going forward, is Leone gonna, price themselves out of the market, basically, right? Because they do have a lot of problems with their Southern Interceptor, and I know there's an ongoing lawsuit, so there's a lot of potential cash flows. And what Kathy Kenny told me is that we're a customer of Leone. We don't have any voting rights or anything, so they basically can dictate to us, pricing and that. So as we look at the master plan, one of the things we may want to consider in there is what does the future sewage strategy look like in the event of Leone, continue to have financial problems and struggles, and the prices itself out of the market. Do we look at joining up with Chelsea? Do we look at our own plant? So, because I'm poking around on that one. So,
Yeah. And master plans are very broad
Right.
plans. So like the master plan goal would be to serve the existing sewer. And then the board would be working on the behind the scenes, who they're going to provide those requirements from. But yeah, I believe the board is currently, researching all options to make sure that your sewer is viable into the future.
yeah, no, I was just surprised when he gave me those hints that there's potentially some significant costs coming down the pike due to capital improvements that they're going to be required to address. So in any case, but I haven't seen a report yet, so it could still be hearsay, so.
Yep, go ahead and shoot me the email with the
Yep.
stuff you want Beckett and Rader to look at, and
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
try to get a hold of them.
Yeah, and I think it'd just be good we can look at it and get an understanding, right? To see where it makes the most sense. So,
Well, I've read someplace where, Chelsea and Sylvan are discussing the water issue.
I
So,
think there's discussion about, linking the lines, right? I think that's been some ongoing conversation. Patrick, you probably follow that closer than I do. Are they? Hmm. Kathy and Kurt on that. Yeah. Was the intent more for just to manage water pressure or just share the resources of this? I didn't
I think it was to share.
share. Yeah.
Resources perhaps identified.
Okay. You haven't, okay. Oh, interesting. Then I think there was isn't there stuff going on with Norfolk too in the water tower with the closed loop? conversations? They're
That's
not tied into
utilities.
that?
I don't get involved.
Yeah, probably a good move. Okay, anything else, Sandy? Yes, go ahead, Sandy.
So I don't recall initially what had me looking at the Sylvan Township website, but I did. And I looked at the planning commission And it didn't have the current members on it. It was really shameful. So I started looking at our neighbors, like Sharon Township and Linden Township and Lima Township and Dexter Township, to see how they handled communication, the public's ability to communicate with the members of the planning commission. Some of them had the planning commission members' home addresses, telephone numbers and emails. Others, I think it was Lima, was just like us, which had nothing. It just had somebody's name, except for me, because I'm a board member. It had my Sylvan Township
Email address, yeah.
So, I brought this up at the last Board of Trustees meeting that I was at. Am suggesting that that each of you get a township email, not your personal email, a township email like the one that I have. And have that on our website in the event that somebody wants to ask you a question.
Mm.
The board said, you should go ask the people of the planning commission what they would like to do. So that's what I'm doing. Yes.
I think that that is not a great idea. And it's because you're going to have a lot of ex parte, correspondence on all of your projects at that point. So every email that you get in that's regarding a project will then have to be disclosed into the public comment period. Because they're talking to you about, like, let's say Patrick is emailing Mark to try to join favor of his project. That's a pretty slippery slope on a public
Oh, interesting
board.
perspective.
So,
Well, and if multiple people are copied on the email, start responding, that ventures into public meeting territory.
well, and yeah, if they,
There's open meeting act.
if somebody selects all of your names
Yep.
and then sends you an email, then are you discussing the project
Yeah, that's open meeting
in
act
front of you?
territory.
Interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't love that. You could put a informational email on there. Where you could send it to the PC members and we could forward information, or they could send me an email, or
Have something, because I think it makes us look secretive. Like, here are the names of the people, but we don't want you to ever talk to them. We don't want you to know anything about them, and that makes me uncomfortable.
well, yeah, even so, if you do speak to somebody at Polly's, or if you ran into Patrick at Agricole and talked to him about the project, you would then have to disclose it at the public dais when you have the hearing. Say, I ran into Patrick the other day at Polly's and we talked about his project here. I didn't make any decision at that time on the project, but this is what we talked about. And then you're safe from ex parte communication.
And what's the implications of ex parte communications?
Not allowed under the Open Meetings Act regulations.
Right.
So,
So it's not
but they
allowed,
know it.
but-
It happens, you just have to disclose it. So like when you're out doing a inspection on the ZBA, more than likely you're going to run into either the applicants or one of the neighbors. If that happens, you don't want to talk about the project with them, but they're going to want to talk about the project with you. So then you just have to disclose that when you come to the public hearing on that project. You disclose that when I was out on my site inspection for this variance, the neighbor came over and just wanted to discuss this. I didn't make my determination on the project at that time. I was out to do my review and I'm coming to the public hearing.
That's interesting.
So that's a no. So your suggestion is don't do that.
I would suggest not to do it.
Maybe an informational email address.
Yeah, you might want to put together like a planning commission at Sylvan Township email.
And who would that?
It would have to go to me and then I would have to review it.
Hmm.
I'm not seeing a lot of optimism. for this.
Well, it's just additional staff time.
Well, thank you for bringing that up because it never occurred to me. I looked at it and saw it as secretive. when there's no reason to be secret.
Yeah, the reason you're a public board and you have these public meetings is that's the time to interact with the public. What we don't want to foster is you interacting with the public outside of the public meeting.
Mm.
And I mean, we're in a small little tiny town. It happens, but
Okay, so I withdraw my suggestion.
That's all right. Those, you know, if you don't talk about it, you know, I mean, I learned something about partay, right? I learned something about partay. Sandy, anything else you'd like to bring up?
That's it.
That's it. Okay. Cliff, how about you? Good, Leah? Okay. Okay, the next meeting's on the 14th. Do I have a motion to adjourn or to, yes,
15th, right?
15th,
15th.
14th.
15th?
Yeah.
Yes, I need a motion to adjourn. By Mike, second by Leah. The meeting is adjourned, so. But also, Patrick, though, I just want to say this is a lot better. So